everybody, and it is time again for Gamenightathon, the lottery edition. So, Gamenightathon is a readathon I do twice a year. In July I do one edition and in December I do another. In July I typically do a version that is inspired by the game Encore, and in December I tend to do a lottery edition. So we are doing the lottery edition again this year, of course. So I really enjoyed the lottery edition because the lottery edition is a great equalizer. There are ways in which you can make sure that your odds are higher than that of, maybe some other people who are entering into the lottery, but to some extent it is pretty much equal. It is a game of chance. Somebody who puts less stakes in still can come out on top, and that's what I really like about it, especially because there is a top. You can at maximum read 10 books for this readathon, meaning if you are somebody who reads 50 books a month, congratulations to you, but you're just gonna have to choose 10 out of those 50 to select for this readathon, meaning that it equalizes the playing field a little bit. So the concept is simple. I will give you 16 prompts. You will go through those 16 prompts and choose 5 prompts that you think are the winning numbers. At the end of the month, I am going to use a wheel or a random number generator to draw the 5 winning numbers. Whoever is closest to the winning sequence wins. Now, 5, then why can you read 10 books? Because you do have the opportunity to increase your chances. So everybody who takes part in Gamenightathon is starting out with 5 slots that they can fill up with books. But you can increase that to 10 slots, but I'm gonna already say that there are only 2 people who can fill the 10 slots, and they are the ones who won the July edition of Gamenightathon. So the winners of the July Gamenightathon are Purple Pixie 1980, so you get that extra 10 slots. You don't have to read 9 books to use that 10 slots. You can use this as your 5th slot, for example, if you're as your 6th slot, for example, if you're only going to submit 6 books. And then the other person is Jeroen from Walking with Books. So in July we had 2 winners because we did a sort of like maximum score or best average score thing, and so that's why there are 2 winners. And so those are the 2 winners. They automatically get an extra slot, and they are the only ones who are able to submit that 10 slots. I will also put a slight caveat there that maybe throughout the month there are opportunities for other people to also unlock that 10 slots. So how do we go about this? 5 standard slots at the beginning. So how do you unlock those extra slots? So as indicated, the winners of the July edition of Gamenightathon, they automatically get a slot available to them. So there is, on the visual, it is the 10 slots that has like the laurel sign on it. That is a slot reserved for the winners of the July edition of Gamenightathon. But there are 4 other slots open for you to unlock, and in order to unlock them, the first 5 standard slots need to meet certain requirements. So if you don't meet those requirements with those 5 books, but you read a 6th book that you aren't able to submit to this readathon, but that meets that criteria, it does not count. It needs to be those 5 books that you have logged as your first 5 reads for this readathon. They need to have met these criteria in order for you to unlock these slots. The first one of these slots is every book in those first 5 slots needs to have gone through some sort of a randomization process. Either you randomize the choice of your prompts, or you randomize the book that you read for a certain prompt. And it is not an either or situation. You can also say like, okay, I really like these 2 prompts. So for these 2 prompts, I'm just gonna choose like 3 books that would work for it and let people choose between those. Or I'm going to, and for the remaining prompts, I'm gonna let a random generator give me numbers. That's one option. but you can also go all out and say like, I want all 5 of my prompts to be randomly generated, or I want all of my prompts to be fixed and every book to be chosen by others. Whichever method you use of randomization is up to you. So you can use polls, of course, but you can also use random generators. You can use a random emoji generator and let fate kind of steer you in the direction a little bit more like that. Any type of way that you have of randomizing something, get your pets involved in all of those things, for example. So all of that counts, as long as you make sure that all 5 of them have gone through some sort of a randomization process where the end result wasn't fully in your hands, then that is okay. That means you unlock a 6th slot. For that 6th slot, you of course still need to fulfill one of the prompts on the board, but it no longer needs to meet a criterion in order for you to unlock further slots. So for example, the 7 slots, it also still requires for the criterion to be filled by the first 5 books. So your 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th slots, none of them needs to fulfill any of these criteria. It's only those first 5 that are always at stake. And there's also no order, for example. So let's say you don't want to do the randomized thing, you can still unlock extra bonus slots by filling the criterion for what individual is the 7th slot. You don't have to be going in order, for example. So that is just, take that in mind. I'm gonna call them like the 6th, the 7th, the 8th, the 9th, the 10th slots, but there is no real numbering going on here. And I'm actually not having the visual in front of me, so maybe I'm also saying them wrong. The next bonus slot is a bonus slot for having books that are set in winter. So they have to have some sort of a connection to winter. Either they are taking place in what we know to be the winter season. So winter is mentioned. But this could also be, they mention December, January, February, March. All of those I will allow. Like winter officially only starts at the very end of December, but I'll allow December as a whole. I mean, December in the minds of people definitely is also a winter month. So those 4 months for the northern hemisphere would count. For the southern hemisphere, like June, July, August, September, all of those count if the book takes place in those months. Even if there's sort of like no mention at all of the fact that it is winter, then that is okay. If your book takes place over a much longer period of time, in principle, we know that one of these moments will take place in one of those months, but if there is no sort of mention of it being the wintry weather or wintry season, then I would still not count it. I would not go so far as to be like, oh yeah, this book takes place over 5 years, which means we must have gone through winter. Like, I understand the temptation in that, but I want there to be a wintry scene, whether that be just a mention of a month or a winter activity such as skiing or anything related to a holiday that takes place during one of these months, for example. So that link needs to be there. Third criterion in order for you to unlock an extra slot is it needs to be family or friend focused. I think that this is a really easy one. There will be books that fall out of this, but I'm assuming that they're quite limited. As long as your book has some sort of a focus, doesn't have to be the main focus, but some sort of a scene or just sort of like development throughout the book that links to family dynamics or friendship dynamics, then you're good to go here. The winter months are also the months of connecting to loved ones, and I feel like most literature sees this happening. Most literature either has a big family focus or a big friendship focus if there is a lack of family bonds. Though there are, of course, these books that will fall out of there, like very depressing books about people who have nobody in their life, unfortunately. So I think this is a little bit of a giveaway and that this won't be too difficult to achieve, but we will go for it regardless. And then the fourth criterion to unlock an extra slot is to have the first letters of all the 5 books that you submit for your first 5 slots form words. Puts the first letters of all of the titles that you submit for the first 5 slots into a word jumble and make a word with it. So we're looking for 5-letter words that are made up of the first letters of each of your books. If your book starts with a or the, then you can choose whether you count the A or the T, or whether you count the first letter of the next word. If your book starts with a number, then it is the first letter that counts, because you're going to have a little bit of a difficult time making a word with a letter in there, with a number in there. And the words that count are words in the English language, but there are also words in your own native language in case you are a bilingual speaker, or in case you are not native English speaker. So are those requirements, and in the tracking form that will exist for this readathon, there will be a question like, is this the 5th book that you submit? And in that case you have to kind of indicate which slots that you have unlocked, and I will also ask you to give me the word that you've unlocked. You will have my eternal admiration if this is a wintry word, but there is no need to make a wintry word. Don't make it even harder on yourself. And then, as indicated, that 10th slot is reserved for the winners of the July edition, and as kind of teased, that there will be another way to potentially get that slot unlocked in case you're not one of those lucky 2. Now, so I hope that has been clear. The main dynamics of the readathon are reading books based off of the prompts that are on the board, making sure that if you want to submit more than 5 books, that those 5 choices meet with certain criteria in order to unlock as many slots as possible. Now, for the score calculation at the end, or like for the determination of the winner, I will mention it here that the order in which you place in which you log your books to some extent has an impact. So if there is an ex aequo, if there are 2 people who have the same amount of numbers from the winning sequence correct, then my first order of business is I will be only looking at the 5 first numbers submitted from that point onwards. If in those first 5 numbers submitted there is one of you who has 3 of them in there and the other only 2, then the one with 3 in those first 5 wins out on the one who had 2 in the first 5 and then a 3rd one in the extra slots. But if then there's still an ex aequo, we will look at the order that the numbers are placed in your sequence, and the one who is closest to having the correct order in the sequence will then be the winner. And I guess if at that point in time we still reach an ex aequo between multiple contestants, then I will add a 6th winning number to the draw and let that determine which one of those ends up being the winner. So the prize, as last year, is you will be able to win a book. So you do have to have a method to have me send you a book, so like an Amazon wish list, or I don't know, any type of other sort of online store that I can potentially buy something from for you. That is a requirement. I mean, if you just want to have the honor of winning and you don't care about a book at all, then that's also fine, of course. But I will want to be sending you a book, so already kind of think about the ways in which I could potentially send you some. But with that having been said, let's go over the board and let's look at the different prompts. And at this point in time, I am going to have to also take the board out there, because I definitely don't remember all of them, and especially don't remember the order of the prompts. Alright, as indicated, the prompt board consists of 16 prompts. You can see at the bottom there, I also have the requirements for the extra slots mentioned again. So, first prompt is macabre. So, the wintry season, a while for many in the Western world, is a cozy time to be with friends and family. It is also a dark and gloomy time, and so it also has a very prevalent sort of like ghost story tradition as well. And so for that first prompt you will choose a sort of like spooky, dark type of book in order to fulfill that, in order to kind of match your reading with the weather around you to some extent, or the atmosphere or the weather around you. Second prompt, out of your comfort zone, so read a book that isn't what you would typically reach for. So either a genre that you are not all that familiar with, or an author that you have heard some things about that make you go like, I don't know whether they are for me. So something that you've kind of been hesitating to pick up for particular reasons that have to do with the fact that you are unsure whether it will be for you or not. Third prompt, short story. Easiest prompt on the board, you just need something short and snappy. Fourth prompt, a green cover, so the majority of your cover needs to be green. Fifth prompt, must get to. So if there is something you still need to read before the end of the year, this is your opportunity. Of course, if you're gonna try and randomize, people will maybe work against you here. Sixth prompt, a reread, so reread a book that you've previously read. Seventh prompt, baking. Either read a book that has baking in it, or bake something and eat the baked goods while you are reading this book, or listen to the book while baking. Eighth prompt, new. So, open to interpretation, new to your shelves, new author on your shelves, a new release, a new series, so the start of a series, anything that you can kind of see as being an interpretation of the word new works. Ninth prompt, hold your breath. So it is a little bit of an inside joke, or not even inside joke, that many of these books have the phrase like, he released a breath he didn't realize he was holding, or something along those lines. If that line is in your book, count it. And then the 10th prompt is a book that is over 600 pages long, so big chunker to end the year on. The 11th prompt, a book with illustrations in it or an illustrated cover. 12th prompt, can I have some more? So a continuation to a series or a book by an author that you've already previously read from. 13th book, peer pressure. Read a book that you've seen so many people read. Read a book that your best friend has been raving about. Read something because of the fact that people around you have been reading it and want you to read it. It can be just like you've wanted to read it because people around you have been reading it, but it can also be because people have been telling you over and over again that you should read it. 14th prompt, cozy. So we've already embraced the spookier side of things with the first prompt, but you can also embrace the cozy, warmer side of things by choosing prompt number 14. Prompt number 15, bonus, interpretation. Bonus can mean free to choose whatever. It can be just a mood read as a consequence. It can be like, hey, I have a TBR of books that I need to get to, and I really want to find a space to put something extra in there. Bonus, it's there for you. It's a gift, basically. 16th prompt, let's look to the future. So either a futuristic book, so being a book that is set in the future, so most likely a sci-fi, but it can also be something like if you, for example, are going to go to China in 2025, you can read a book set in China as a way for you to look towards your future. So it can be something that links to future plans that you have. If you one day in your life want to do this or that, even if you don't have plans yet, you can also do that. Let's say you've always dreamed about going scuba diving, then you can read a book with scuba diving in it, for example, to fulfill this. You want to become a dentist, read a book that has a dentist as a protagonist, for example. So some way of interpreting this prompt. And that's it, guys. Those are the 16 prompts. As indicated, you don't need to read all of these. If you read all of these, then that doesn't really give you an extra benefit, because the absolute maximum that you're allowed to log is 16 it's not 16, it is 10 books. 10 books. You're at most allowed to log 10 books, meaning that you really don't have a benefit for reading all 16 of these, because yeah, what would be the lottery if you would be able to read all 16, right? At most you can submit 10, so 10 out of 16 numbers, which is a decent amount to be able to get to a correct guess of 5 numbers. Though we didn't get there last year neither. There was nobody who guessed all 5 correct. I think the winners got 4 correct, or did you guys only get 3 correct? I'll have to rewatch it to be able to tell you guys for sure. But so yeah, that is going to be it. At the end of the month, you have to make sure that you've submitted all of your books. I'll probably give you guys until the 2nd to do that. And then I'll do a live show, I think on the 4th of January. That's the Saturday, right? Then I'll do a live show in which we will draw the numbers, because I also don't have the numbers now. We will just draw them in that moment in time, and then the calculation has to start of who the winner is. Last year that went pretty easily, but we'll see if there are also like more people taking part, for example, that can potentially become quite a mess. The 4th of January is when I'll do the live show. I should also say that I will be doing weekly sprints. I will start on the 1st of December with opening sprints, so that is a Sunday. But apart from that, I am hoping to do all of my sprints on the Saturdays, because on Sundays I do visit my family typically, and so there is a likelihood for that to mean that my sprint schedule would be interrupted then. So I am planning to do them on Saturdays, and I'll start to schedule them pretty soon, so that they're all scheduled before I go on my holiday. And then I will have resources for this available, hopefully already by the time that this video goes live, but potentially not. Because I am preparing for a big trip, and so I am pre-filming a lot of content, and I don't know whether I still have time to make the logging form, for example, but the logging form should only go live afterwards in any case. So I will have an updated guide that I still have to write, but I will definitely already have the new board and the new sort of like lottery ticket visual on there. And then by the time that the readathon goes live on the 1st of December, there should be a logging form in there as well, and then there should also be a guide in there. And then I will make sure that those resources are also available on my Discord, for which you can find the link in the description box. And then yeah, nothing left for me to say until except for good luck. See you guys on the 1st of December. I will be on holiday until the 30th of November, so I will not be here a ton to answer questions about it yet. But hopefully if you go over on the Discord, some people there, for example, can also already kind of answer some stuff, as they participated last year. It's more or less the same thing as it was last year. But so yeah, I hope you guys are looking forward to another edition of this readathon. I definitely am. I had a great time last year, and let's hope for another good time this year. Without any further ado, I think that is all that I have to say here. You can definitely leave me your questions in the comments down below. You can leave me questions over on my Discord. But so yeah, good luck to everybody, and see you guys for the next one. Bye!